From insane last-minute dunks to precise three-pointers from beyond the arc, college basketball never fails to deliver. So here are the biggest comebacks ever in March Madness. And of course, we have to start off with Illinois' iconic match in 2005, because back in those days, the University of Illinois Fighting Illini was the top group. They entered the competition with just one loss on their record after starting the season 29-0. And unsurprisingly, the Illini were the fan favorite to win the national title. The team was led by a three-guard lineup of Darren Williams, Dee Brown, and Luther Head, and they definitely knew how to put on a show. With Roger Powell and James Augustine in the starting lineup, Bruce Weber had a team that seemed set to become the first Illinois team to reach the Final Four since the 1989 Flying Illini. And although they ultimately fell short of North Carolina in the title game, they faced a greater threat in the Final Eight. With only 4 minutes left in their game, number 3 seeded Arizona had the Illini down by 15 points, and things looked bad. But when all hope was lost, the three-guard lineup pulled through. In the final 4 minutes, they went on a 20-5 spree that had 3 three-pointers from Williams, including the shot that tied the game.
Ingram to bat the ball away. Williams could tie it with a three. He goes!
Illinois ended up advancing to the Final Four after winning by a score of 90-89 in overtime, all while keeping fans on the edge of their seats. But while I love hyped-up teams getting a good challenge, I can't help but also support the underdogs. And the underdogs in the Mississippi Valley State and Western Kentucky match were playing on a different level altogether. Western Kentucky University didn't have high expectations for its performance in the 2012 NCAA tournament. After all, they were the only team with a losing record that year. Everyone thought that this would be a predictable match. But with President Barack Obama and British Prime Minister David Cameron in the front row, the team from Kentucky had a different plan. Towards the end of the game, MSVU had a 16-point advantage after taking a 4-point lead at the half. But with just 5 minutes remaining, WKU went into beast mode. They only made 2 of their 16 attempts from beyond the arc during the game, but they still managed to win. And to cap off the rally, guard TJ Price made a layup for a 3-point play, giving WKU a 57-54 advantage. They would ultimately hold on to win 59-58. It really was March Madness. But even then, the next pairing on this list takes it a step further, because when UCLA faced off against Gonzaga, they put on the show of a lifetime. And you know the game is good when the winner isn't obvious until the last moment. With about 20 seconds left in the game, Jordan Farmer and Aaron Aflalo went on a 3-point spree on the court. Their dramatic rally brought the Bruins to within 3 points of the Zags. And when Gonzaga's Adam Morrison missed a jump shot, they made a costly error by fouling on the rebound. Ryan Hollins, a forward for UCLA, was sent to the line as a result, and he made both of his free throws to bring his team within 1 point. After that, you could tell Gonzaga was under stress. They lost control of the ball, and the Bruins scored with less than 10 seconds left to take the lead at 72-71. This was a complete shocker, with UCLA winning 73-71. College-level basketball never fails to deliver, and the Louisville versus West Virginia match of 2005 put fans through a roller coaster of emotions. West Virginia University was a huge underdog against Louisville in their 2005 Final Eight meeting. This is why it was so much more thrilling when WVU went on to take a 38-18 lead with just a few minutes left in the first half. The Cardinals were having a bad day, and Louisville's ferocious comeback, led by Larry O'Bannon and Taekwon Dean, didn't make things any better for them. Dean's 7-for-17 performance from beyond the arc during the game was the game changer. But despite their impressive recovery, they were still down 77-75 with just under a minute to go. Larry ended up tying the score at 77 with an insane driving basket to force the game into overtime.
Here's O'Bannon. He's been sensational. To the bucket! Oh, another tie at 77.
He ended up scoring 4 very important points in the extra session for a total of 23 points in the second half and overtime. And to think that he hadn't gotten a single point in the first half. Talk about turning things around at the last moment. Louisville surprised everyone by mounting a comeback and winning 93-85. Yet there are very few matches that can beat the Duke versus Maryland game of 2001. When Maryland came up against Duke in the 2001 national semifinals, the Duke Blue Devils were already out of the game. The number 1 seed had been totally outplayed by the Terrapins, who had gotten a first-half lead of an incredible 22 points. So when the teams took a break for the half, Duke was down 49-38. But when the Blue Devils came back on the court after that, you could tell something had changed. They ended up turning the tables on the Terrapins and outscored them 57-35 over the final 20 minutes. It was Shane Battier's game-high 25 points and the 22 points for Jay Williams that guaranteed the win. And with that, Duke defeated Maryland 3 times in a row. The fact that this game was for a spot in the 2001 national championship game just shows how intense it was. Duke faced a battle against the incredibly strong Arizona team in the Final Four after winning 95-84, and the Wildcats were defeated by Duke 82-72. But even I have to admit that a Duke versus Maryland match is an amazing entertainment. It looked like every time these two teams faced off, fans knew it was going to be an intense match. Because in that same year, the Blue Devils overcame a 12-point deficit in the game's last minute to win. That match became so iconic that people started calling it the Miracle Minute.
It's the most remarkable comeback I have ever seen.
But while this match was a team effort, our next pairing looked like a one-man show. Because when Brigham Young and Ole Miss faced off in the NCAA tournament's first round, all hell broke loose on the court. BYU seized control early on and led Ole Miss by 17 points at the break, and it looked like Ole Miss was going to start off the month on a bad note. That is, of course, until MJ Rhett stepped up. He shot 9 for 11 from the field and made key crucial baskets in the second half to give Ole Miss the lead with 7:41 left in the game. And in those last few minutes, he helped his team come all the way back. It was an insane 21-point turnaround in this game. And even though they only won by a 4-point lead in the end, it was nothing short of incredible. But while BYU lost that year, they've had their fair share of iconic wins, and their win against Iona in 2012 was the biggest comeback in NCAA history. The fact that they were able to get this record against the high-scoring Iona Gales makes it all the more iconic. The Cougars overcame a 25-point gap on their way to a 78-72 win, all while being outplayed throughout the game. They gave up 55 points in the opening half, but they never lost focus and got those much-needed dunks. The Cougars outscored Iona 38-17 in the second half, with Noah Hartsock scoring 23 points, 16 of which came after the break. College basketball really peaked that day. Well, there you have it. These were the biggest comebacks in March Madness history.
Boyd Summers gives it up, and Size gets it to go.